Hey everyone, so coming back and making an updated review for these acerbis K-Future handguards, and also in the same video my thoughts on the Dunlop AT81 EX gummy rare tire. So to go forward on these K-Futures, they're exactly what I said they were in the last video. I feel like they're way too brittle. As you can see, the white stress marks right there and right there, that one's a little bit harder to see. And this is after 2 races, and although I did lay the bike down a bunch of times, especially in the Mohawk mud, it was a Mohawk mud bog race, I did lay the bike down a lot, but I don't really crash anymore. I've gotten a lot better, a lot faster, and I don't make crazy big catastrophic mistakes. Most of the time when I crash, I'm usually just laying the bike down on its side at a low speed. Although in the last race I did crash in the first turn, and that was a little bit of a fluke, but I'll get into that once I get to the rear tire of what I think happened. But I'll just say what happened. Off the line, I was kind of out front going into the first turn, and I overshot the turn. I went to the outside, and the grass was different out there. It was more like strawy hay more than like grass or dirt from the lines before that went. So when I hit the brake, I kind of just spun around, did a 180, and fell straight on my back. And I was really lucky because the guys that came barreling up behind me were guys either in my group or people that I knew from racing, and they were nice enough to not run me or my bike over, so they did try to avoid me, which I'm grateful for, because all I kept thinking as soon as I fell was, I'm gonna die, everybody's gonna run me over, because people just don't care. And I do get it, because you're just focused on going, and it's really hard to avoid things sometimes. So I mean, I do get it, but I was really lucky in any case. So So again, with these handguards, I think they should, if they made them out of a better material, more rubberized, I think these would be worth the money a lot more. Something like these OEMs flags, they're very forgiving. They almost feel a little bit more rubbery. They're plastic, but they're more pliable. These are pretty pliable, but they're just not the same. They're brittle in certain areas. They got the idea right, but I really think for $50 I wouldn't waste my money on these again. Once one of these breaks off, I will be putting the Enduro Engineering handguards on, and then I could do what I think about those on a later date. But again, the real reason why people run flag handguards is for the free feeling, for the look, and for very light protection from roost or like tree shoots coming up out of the ground, or if you lightly brush up against a tree when you're going in between trees. These things have clipped trees and save my fingertips a little bit, but you just don't expect anything crazy from them. But for $50, you don't want them to snap either. So my 2 cents, I wouldn't spend the $50 on those, but that's just me. So before I get to the back tire, I just want to say a little bit about the front tire, which I know I've already talked about the M59 before, and this is a Bridgestone motocross M59. But I just wanted to get into what I was thinking about this. So this in the rear tire, I have the same amount of, I think I put these on at the same time, so six races, and there's plenty of life still on this tire. But in the last race, I just didn't feel as confident, especially after that wipeout, and I was noticing I was hitting like little rocks and roots, and the tire just wasn't digging in the way it was when it was fresh. And these are obvious things. Fresh tires always perform much better, but it's just to show you the deceivingness of the tire, because you're going into certain things like it was new, because you have the confidence, because you've went over certain terrain, what the tire can handle, and then all of a sudden you're thrown for a loop because these knobs are just more rounded, they're not squared off, and the material just breaks down. It's not as stiff as a fresh M59. These are very squared off, sharp, they dig right in, And once these tires are new and you put them on, man, I feel like you can just go through anything, and it's just going to be planted. I will say in the last race, I did mess with my clickers a little bit. I did mess with the air pressure a little bit. Those very well could be factors, and I'm sure they were. But I just noticed, again, I kind of try to take the racing a little more serious than the Weekend Warrior. I did notice the characteristics of the tire hugely degraded. I mean, it's still a great tire. Even like I said, there's plenty of life on it. But when you're talking a racer's perspective, you just notice the big difference in the degradation of the performance after some time of breakdown. And I'm going to change it because I've got 4 races left, and I want optimal performance, and I got 4 races left. So why not change it and get that confidence back and go balls to the wall for the next remaining races. So yeah, that's just that. So let's get to the rear tire, which I'm sure that's what you're waiting for, and my thoughts on it. And as you can see, I purchased another AT81EX. So I must love it, and indeed I do. But I want to show you. So I got 6 races on this tire also, and there's still life on there. It's not bad. And I did flip this tire. I did 3 races and 3 races. I flipped it because it is a gummy. It does wear out rather quickly, but I did mention in the last video I wasn't expecting crazy life out of it. I want performance. That's what I don't care about the money. I want the performance, and this tire gives me the performance, all the performance I can ask for. It really truly does. And to get back to why I think that I crashed in the last race, again, like when you really look at these knobs, the squareness of them are just gone. They're rounded out, and a lot of people, I want to get a high compression head, I want to get a header, this and that and the other thing, I want to run race fuel, whatever it may be. The most important upgrade that you can do to your race bike is tires. Even though this tire has plenty of life left, it doesn't act the same as when it does when it's new with these sharp edges. And when I hit the brakes, I really feel like these knobs are just broken down. They're not squared off. It just didn't dig into anything, and the ass end just slid out. I did a 180. A lot of people saw me. I had one subscriber messaged me and told me he saw me go down, and yeah, it took me by surprise. I was not expecting that at all, to be honest. And I landed flat on my back and knocked the wind right out of me, and it was not fun. And I was kind of shook after that, to be honest. It felt pretty hard. So I do trust this tire. It's still held up great. There was wooden bridges with mud on them, and I'm seeing people wipe out left and right. And again, through the mud, everything, this thing just it hooks, grips and shits, and I just can't praise it enough. And one thing I will really say, I see a lot of people riding Netra for the first time. I see them come with these clapped out bikes, and I'm not judging them. I want everybody to come ride Netra or race Netra, but you could tell that they are either just doing a Weekend Warrior thing, or they just Netra came to their town, so they're just trying it out. But some of these people actually come to a lot of races, and I see the tires that they're running, and I'm not judging, to each their own, but they're running these rock hard, rounded off knob tires, super high air pressure, and those are the same guys that I see go down all the time. As soon as there's a little slick mud, they just go down, or like a wooden bridge, they go down. All those things, like tires are just so important. The best mod you could do, again, is tires. If you're going to take Netra or racing in general seriously, invest in fresh tires. Every 6 races, every 8 races, whatever you can do, it's the best thing you could do for your bike. And I truly mean that. You'll really see, even if you flip your tires, get the extra life out of them, whatever you got to do. So again, I do love this tire, and you can see how the square edges are compared to these rounded off edges. And you know, it's still got its pliableness, it's still grippy. It's still good enough to go in the mud and to go on rocks and slate and everything like that. There was a bunch of like big flat surface rocks that I had no problem going up, and other people are sliding out on that rock, and no issues with this tire at all. Absolutely love it. And again, like I said, I'm going after performance. I don't really care. So this tire at Manchester is $100, $98.99. And you know, if money is not really an object to you, I highly recommend, and you care more about racing and performance, highly recommend this tire. Now this is for Netra racing and hare scrambles. I can't say for motocross. I know people mostly run the stock version of this, the non-gummy, which I'm sure is a very good tire, but when you're talking about slick roots and rocks and all that stuff and mud, this is the go-to. Now, if this tire is a little bit out of your price range and you can't afford to change your tire every 6 to 8 races, because I do believe this tire can go another 2 races for sure, but you're just not going to get that optimal performance, I do highly recommend the Shinko 525 cheater, not to be confused with the 505. Don't get that. The 505 is more for out west, for slate rock and things like that. You know, you don't want that in northeast. You're dealing with mud, roots, rocks. You want more space in between the lug pattern, and these lugs are just way more prominent and really good. And again, you can't go wrong with this tire. I believe it's between $65 and $70, and this you'll get 8 races out of all day. It's not as gummy as the AT81, but it is still really gummy, and I really can't promote this tire enough. It's an all-around great tire. It does great in the mud and everything like that. Did I even flip this? No, I don't think I flipped this tire. Yeah, that's that. Again, you know, this tire, the reason why I kind of shied away from it was solely because of the circumference. It was just slightly taller than the AT81, and I do like the smaller circumference. I'm weird. I feel everything. I feel everything. Even if there's something wrong with the bike, I always feel it. I can't tell you what's wrong with it. I could just tell you there's a difference, and I truly feel the difference between these tires. Between the MT16, the 525, the circumference is just smaller on this tire, which I really like. For some reason, it just makes me feel better on the bike. Make sure if you do go with the 525, I'm sorry for jumping back and forth, make sure you get the 120 size of this tire, because if you get the 110, the lug pattern is smaller and the lugs tend to wear out much quicker on the 110 versus the 120. So make sure you get the 120 with the larger lugs. Even if you have a 125, you're going to give up a little bit of oomph on the bottom, but believe me, my buddy had this tire on a 110, on a 125. He literally rode it on the road one time and it just ate straight through it. I actually have some good miles on the road with this tire, and it still looks good, and quite a few races, and it's still decent. So, you know, there's that. Good tire. So, to end cap this off, obviously I love this tire because I picked it up again. So I'm going to be swapping these tires out and then doing my last 4 races and hope for the best. I am in the points for the championship, and currently right now I'm sitting in 3rd, which I don't think first is in my grasp, because I'm close to being promoted to B class, so I have to kind of watch my points, and so I can't do as well as I want to on the next race, but after that I can freeze my points and go balls to the wall. And you know, there's some tough competition out there. Some guy that came out of nowhere and he's in 2nd place. I don't even know who he is. And then you got the KDX bros. You got Eric on his old KDX, and he's killing it out there. He's sitting in 1st, so he's doing real good. He's showing up to every race and giving it hell. So shout out to him, and good for him. So all right, guys. Hope this video helped you out a little bit. And again, can't stress enough. If you want to take racing seriously, get those tires, keep them fresh, and we will see you at the track.